o'clock.
Good evening. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. What was supposed to be the big deal Beat the Clock budget summit is over. Summiteers from Congress and the Reagan White House today produced what they call a two-year formula. It's supposed to knock back the big federal budget deficit with some $76 billion in spending cuts and taxes. No word yet on what taxes. President Reagan says he's very pleased. He says everyone else should be pleased. Not everyone is. Wall Street's initial reaction was lukewarm at best. From Capitol Hill, Phil Jones begins our coverage of whether the budget summit produced a triumph or too little too late.
After 20 days of haggling, negotiators at the Capitol produced a two-year, $76 billion deficit reduction plan this afternoon and promptly sought presidential blessing.
After we have a responsive period of meditation and then you'll see a puff of smoke, hopefully, which will say that there is an agreement.
A short time later, negotiators were at the White House, and the president emerged with a blessing of sorts.
This agreement is probably not the best deal that could be made, but it is a good, solid beginning. It provides the necessary services for our people, maintains our national security, and does so at a level that does not overburden the average American taxpayer. In a word, fairness.
Everybody gives some. Nobody gets everything he wants. Not the president, not the Congress, not Democrats nor Republicans.
Under the two-year agreement, the deficit would be reduced by more than $30 billion in the current fiscal year and in excess of $45 billion the second year. Taxes, yet to be determined, will be increased by $23 billion, but income taxes will not be affected. Defense spending would be chopped by more than $13 billion. Domestic programs would be trimmed by some $6 billion. Other spending cuts will be made in such programs as Medicare, farm subsidies, student loans, and veterans' mortgage guarantees. But the crucial question now is, can the negotiators who crafted this agreement sell it to the rest of their colleagues in Congress?
I realize the depth of the problem. I've communicated that in spades to El Presidente.
Even some of the negotiators are holding their noses.
Well, I think it's a miserable little pittance. I think the world markets will say, is that all America can do? Is that the best they can do? Is that the best their leadership can produce?
I would like it to be more bold, but it does the job. It's fair.
This agreement did not come in time to stop the automatic cuts scheduled to begin at midnight tonight. However, passage of the agreement by early next month will void tonight's cuts. The plan is under attack, but with things like Social Security left off the table, it appears to be about the best that could be done. Phil Jones, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Reagan today talked up the results of the budget summit he was so reluctant to become involved with when it began. CBS News correspondent Bill Plant is at the White House tonight with more about the myth and reality of what Mr. Reagan is now endorsing, what was actually accomplished, and what the summit failed to do. Bill?
Well, Dan, the president thinks that he has sent the markets an important signal, that this shows he can work with the Congress, that somebody really is in charge here. His advisors have been telling him all along that that's what the markets needed to raise their confidence level. And Mr. Reagan also likes this budget because it cuts only $5 billion from defense, and if the automatic cuts had gone into effect, they would have taken $11.5 billion. And for him, that makes the new taxes easier to swallow.
Bill, the White House official reaction is that this ought to do it at least for a while. Do they really believe that?
Well, they'd like to believe it, but in fact, Dan, people in the White House are saying tonight that there may have to be further changes when these bills get onto the floor. And a lot of people out there are going to discount this as too little too late, not serious because cost of living allowances were not included. And the pros suspect that despite White House denials, there is a lot of smoke and mirrors in here about what you cut from what to get the totals. And as you know, there are big political problems. This is supposed to be a two-year agreement, but this Congress can't legislate for the next one, and there are a lot of Republicans violently opposed, so problems galore.
And what does the president like best about it?
He likes best about it that he got less defense cuts than he would have gotten under the sequestration, and that the taxes he's been promised won't be in the form of income taxes, won't be any kind of value-added tax, will simply be the kinds of excise taxes and user fees that were in his own budget.
Bill Plant at the White House, thanks. Nowhere were the White House and congressional talks on reducing the budget deficit more closely watched than, of course, on Wall Street. And the stock market reacted skeptically today, up but skeptically, to the news that a final budget agreement was reached. CBS News business correspondent Ray Brady explains why.
For weeks now, Wall Street's been putting the blame on Washington for the stock market crash. Today, President Reagan, in announcing the budget agreement, turned the tables on Wall Street, telling the business community it created the problem in the first place.
Even a farmhand cleaning out the stalls in a barn knows that what he's cleaning out didn't come from outside. It was produced in the barn.
That may be, but financial leaders shoveled the blame right back to Washington.
The numbers aren't enough. 30 billion and 45 billion, particularly when you take out the gimmicks, don't get us anywhere near a balanced budget in the next 3 or 4 years.
It's all paper. It's a pure hokum job on the American people.
Stocks dropped sharply at the opening bell amid rumors nothing would be accomplished in Washington today. By the close, though, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up more than 18 points. But volume came to just over 189 million shares. Light. A sign, say Wall Streeters, of little confidence in today's deficit-cutting package.
From the beginning, there's been the hope that they would come up with some very tough decisions. I don't see those tough decisions having been taken.
Then there's that other deficit, in trade. Imports are still pouring in faster than U.S. goods are going out. A sign, say business leaders, the economy is far from under control.
Unless they get control of their fiscal situation, their trade situation, and you get some leadership out of a bunch of people in Washington who don't even know they have a crisis on their hands, you could see a substantial drop in this market.
Analysts point out the president's announcement came just minutes before the stock market closed, and that the real verdict on today's budget package won't come until foreign markets, the dollar market, and Wall Street itself reopen on Monday morning. Dan?
Ray, what are the big boys with the heavy money betting?
Well, I think the big boys at the heavy money are going to stay on the sidelines for a while because there are still so many questions about today's budget package and so many questions about the economy itself. So I think they'll just watch and wait for a while longer.
Thanks, Ray. Your tax dollars are at work tonight in an unprecedented federal government bailout of a thrift institution in Texas. Bob McNamara is there.
The Vernon Savings Rescue is the biggest federal savings and loan bailout ever, costing $1.3 billion. And today, while federal examiners and bank employees did paperwork to reopen Monday under a new name and management, the bank was closed. Deposits up to $100,000 still insured.
Anybody with common sense and the notoriety that Vernon Savings has had in the state of Texas over the last 18 months would not have 1 cent of uninsured money in this institution.
Examiners found Vernon Savings drowning in a sea of red ink $700 million deep.
They identified that 96% of its loans were non-performing. That means that they were overdue.
Today's oil glut has made these especially tough times for Texas bankers. This year alone, 45 banks and more than 70 savings and loans have failed, and 48 more Texas S&Ls are on the Federal Savings and Loan Insurance Corporation's sick list. But there's a sleaze factor, too, like the developments built with fairy tale financing. That was Vernon Savings' problem, too.
In my experience, the Vernon situation in terms of what is apparent fraud and wrongdoing is very bad.
Donald Dixon's story reads like J.R. Ewing's. Under Dixon, Vernon Savings bought him plush California beachfront property to go with jet planes and a sister ship to the old presidential yacht Sequoia. There was a Rolls-Royce dealership to keep Dixon and bank directors in cars. Also, San Diego Bishop Leo Mayer was among many wined and dined on the bank in Europe and beyond. Now being sued for millions for looting his bank, Donald Dixon today is bankrupt, and the taxpayer picking up his tab. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Dallas.
In Midland, Texas today, 19-month-old Jessica McClure left the hospital with her parents 5 weeks and 6 operations after her dramatic rescue from an abandoned well. Jessica spent almost 2.5 days jammed awkwardly in the well. Volunteers finally tunneled through solid rock to reach her. Doctors amputated a little toe and performed skin grafts to heal her right leg. The leg had lost circulation while she was trapped. Her father said today, "Thanks to the grace of God and some heroic men, we've got our baby back." And a 17-month-old boy was at home today with his biological mother in Massapequa Park, New York. He was called Mitchell Steinberg when police found him tied to a chair and filthy in the Greenwich Village apartment of Joel Steinberg and Hedda Nussbaum. They are suspects now in the beating death of 6-year-old Lisa Steinberg earlier this month. A judge yesterday awarded temporary custody of the boy to 18-year-old Nicole Smeagol, who gave him up for adoption at his birth. She said his new name is Travis Christian. A marvel of modern medicine is the reason one baby left a California hospital today. The operation that saved his life was historic and the cause of a furious debate as well. Terry Drinkwater has the story of the tiny transplant patient.
Paul Holk was released from the hospital today, a healthy, bouncing baby. He was born with a defective heart and hours later became the youngest heart transplant recipient ever. But since then, controversy has raged about the source of his new heart. It was taken from a baby born with most of her brain missing, an anencephalic. Her parents knew their daughter, whom they baptized Gabriel, would be an anencephalic. Before birth, they had agreed to donate her heart.
At that time, we just rejoiced in the fact that we could hold our baby. We could touch our baby. As a matter of fact, at one time, I picked up little Gabriel, and I took her to the window, and I showed her.
You showed her all the colors.
Anencephalic infants never live for long, but Gabriel was kept alive on a respirator. Doctors turned it off briefly. She stopped breathing. They declared her brain dead, and then the respirator was turned on again. Breathing resumed, and her heartbeat continued normally until the recipient, Paul, was ready. Then Gabriel's respirator was turned off for the last time. The debate is of life and death.
How would we defend the action that results directly in the termination of one life, however pitiful, for the sake of another life, however promising?
I believe that the impulse to use anencephalic infants as donors is ethically misguided.
They don't think or act or feel anything like you and me. They are not persons.
Transplant surgeon Bailey believes this case was precedent-setting.
We might have gotten a foot in the door on utilizing a very important resource.
But where might that lead?
Somebody will say, look, the reason you're carving these people up is because they're useless. And if you take that step, what about the next step after that? What about the profoundly retarded, the moderately retarded, the slightly retarded? On what basis are you going to say, here is where we stop?
History may record it started with baby Gabriel.
It makes you feel so proud of what...
And so full instead of empty.
Of what your baby's done.
And we have a baby that's alive. And that's the proof right there that it's worth it.
For baby Paul and his parents, that is proof. Indeed, there are enough anencephalics born every year to supply all of the infant hearts needed for transplants. But wait, say some theologians, that's just the statistical argument, not the ethical one. Terry Drinkwater, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And late today, Loma Linda officials said that another child was undergoing the same kind of heart transplant surgery that saved the life of baby Paul. No further details about that yet. And still to come on the Friday night CBS Evening News, Juan Vasquez with the story of President Reagan's surprising new deal with Fidel Castro. Mark Phillips on the crime war killing fields of Italy. And David Browning on doublespeak and the ups and downs of the English language.
Listen to your mouth. That's the crunchy texture of a Triscuit. Now that's the delicious whole wheat taste of a Triscuit. Ooh. And that's the unique look of a Triscuit. They're made to take on any topping or no topping at all. Just listen to your mouth. Ah. That's the sound of a happy mouth. Triscuit. Listen to your mouth.
The beautiful colors of a color tile room. Make them yours now during the final week of our big 34th anniversary sale. This is your last chance to get store-wide savings up to 70%. Save on this exquisite vinyl floor tile, only 79 cents. This handsome mosaic tile, just $1.29. Beautiful floor ceramics, only 55 cents. And elegant oak parquet, just 49 cents. Come save up to 70% during Color Tile's store-wide anniversary sale. But hurry, sale ends Sunday.
No one knows I just got dentures, and I don't want anything to blow it.
Fixodent and forget it. Fixodent helps fix loose spots for a strong hold that lasts longer than any leading cream. Use Fix-It and forget it.
We love visiting America.
Hot chili, barbecued ribs, corn fritters.
But it's jolly good you have Kaopectate.
Nothing relieves diarrhea and calms cramps faster than Kaopectate tablet formula.
Kaopectate,
the diarrhea specialist.
President Reagan struck a deal with Fidel Castro today. The United States will open its doors to tens of thousands of new Cuban immigrants every year. Juan Vasquez is our man in Miami.
Y que el Tratado de Inmigración Original.
When news of the agreement was broadcast today in Miami, the capital of the Cuban community in exile, the reaction was unexpectedly muted. Any deal with Fidel Castro is considered suspect, and most take a wait-and-see attitude.
So I think that the majority, maybe the silent majority, is happy, but there is a lot of people who are very unhappy because of this situation.
No! Her son is one of more than 2,000 Cubans being held in federal prisons. They're the losers in this agreement because they will be sent back to the nation they fled years ago.
Cuba will once again accept the return of these individuals who have committed serious non-political crimes in Cuba or the United States, or who suffer from serious mental disorders.
But the agreement should make Fidel Castro happy because he's always been willing to export Cuba's discontent. In the 1980 Mariel boat lift, he sent 125,000 Cubans to America's shores. Now, up to 27,000 Cubans would be permitted to leave the island nation annually.
Raises the question of who is going to pay the cost of the additional refugees who will be coming into our community.
A similar agreement negotiated in 1984 was suspended by Castro. Experts say that if this one works, it could be a tiny first step in normalizing relations between the two countries. Juan Vasquez, CBS News, Miami.
Analysts today said the weaker dollar was behind today's Labor Department report that inflation jumped 0.4% in October. The report said increases across a broad range of items last month more than offset lower energy costs. Analysts noted the weaker dollar means Americans paid higher prices for imports. For the first 10 months of the year, consumer prices rose at a moderate annual rate of 4.8%. Volkswagen bugged out today, saying it will close its only U.S. assembly plant before the end of next year. Some 2,500 workers will lose their jobs when the plant near New Stanton, Pennsylvania, shuts down.
Say, these must be Jack's Canon personal copiers. Great color.
Yeah, and they copy in 5. You want to see?
Go ahead, make my day.
Everything you need to copy with is in this replaceable cartridge.
I'll do that.
Good thing Canon has PCs for every personality, even pushy agents.
Lighten up, Jack.
These Canon personal copiers are light. Put one in my car.
What a guy.
Now get a $50 rebate on PC3, 5, or 5L.
Now, colorful stain and tough polyurethane protection in one. Poly Shades by Minwax for a beautiful finish in half the time.
Minwax makes wood beautiful.
Studies with people who had a heart attack or unstable angina show aspirin can help prevent a heart attack. Ask your doctor about diet, exercise, and an aspirin a day. This message from Bayer, the wonder drug that works wonders.
For your love, oh, I would do anything. I would do anything for your love.
When it comes to the joy of giving, nothing makes you feel as good as gold.
The Reagan-Gorbachev summit next month most likely will not include a Gorbachev address to a joint meeting of Congress after all. White House officials today backed off the idea. They insisted they never really suggested it in the first place. This follows a growing revolt by dozens of House Republicans. Some of the Republicans threatened a noisy and embarrassing walkout if Gorbachev appeared. U.S. and Soviet arms control negotiators today agreed to carry out several joint nuclear test explosions next year. Both sides will test out monitoring equipment. The idea is to make sure that cheating could be detected if and when there's a later agreement to limit or end nuclear testing. Police in Calabria, Italy, arrested 7 suspected members of the underworld today. They're believed to be involved in a war that's raging among organized crime families in the region. Mark Phillips reports on this bloody business and one courageous woman who's been trying to stop it.
Carmelita Russo, a modern professional Italian woman, a woman a lot of people would like to see dead. Russo, a state prosecutor, has been waging what seems like a one-woman battle against organized crime in Calabria, the remote backwater right at the toe of Italy's boot.
Mafia, 'ndrangheta, camorra.
It's a battle, she says, that she's been losing. Calabria has become the killing field of Italy in a gruesome gang war that has already claimed more than 140 victims this year. One local journalist keeps score.
141.
Victim 141, killed by shotgun blast in broad daylight. No witnesses, there never are. In Calabria, it's called the 'ndrangheta. But like the mafia in Sicily or the Camorra in Naples, it's the same bloody business under a different name. What used to be a small-scale gangster operation involving kickbacks on public work projects and tidy profits from extortion and kidnapping rackets has changed. Despite police efforts, the big-money drug trade to the United States has arrived. It's been driven across the water from Sicily by concerted police pressure there. With the narco dollars has come narco violence that the authorities seem unable or unwilling to stop.
During the night, drugs is unloaded on the shores and nobody sees it. And if someone can see, of course he will be killed.
As Carmelita Russo has found out, the reward for trying to fight the 'ndrangheta is to live with the constant threat of death. The family of someone Russo helped convict sent her a little gift, she says, a doll with a needle through its throat, the Calabrian promise of revenge. That type of threat to Russo and the historic mistrust by Calabrians of the government in Rome have taken away the main weapon Italian authorities have used elsewhere against the underworld. At trials here, no defendants repent and turn state's evidence to provide crucial testimony. Fierce Calabrian loyalty means the code of silence is unbroken.
All the Italian criminal vices are corrupted virtues, or if you wish, virtues that have gone mad.
After 12 years of police escorts, bulletproof cars, death threats to her and her family and friends, and the frustration of dealing with an often corrupt system, Carmelita Russo has asked to leave. She's being transferred to Rome. She'll keep her police escort, though. Calabrians, she says, have another trait: long memories. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Calabria.
I used to have all different kinds of pain relievers in my medicine cabinet. But when I went in the hospital, my doctor gave me Tylenol. Took care of the pain, did it without irritating my stomach like aspirin or even ibuprofen can. Today my medicine cabinet has just one pain reliever in it, Tylenol. It's the only one I need.
Only one pain reliever is used most by hospitals: Tylenol.
We raced 1,900 miles across Australia, powered only by the sun. GM beat Ford and 23 other entries. The GM Sun Racer. Solar technology from GM's Hughes aircraft subsidiary. Drive motor from the GM Research Laboratories. Magna-Quench magnets from Delco Remy. Chassis from GM's engineering staffs. A triumph of GM teamwork and technology. The vision is paying off.
Where does it hurt?
Here.
For indigestion, heartburn, and gas, nobody does as much as Malox Plus. Dose for dose, it neutralizes more than any regular strength antacid and dissolves gas. Nobody does as much as Malox Plus.
Pull it, strain it, but when you overflex it, myoflex it. Myoflex, the pain relief cream that's odor-free. When you overflex it, myoflex it. Most recommended by physicians and pharmacists.
And now to terminate this time frame, David Browning explicates on fatuities and rotundities from this 12 months Lexus.
several elements here were all elements with which I had no knowledge.
Words. What with the Iran-Contra hearings and politics, there was a bumper crop of high-flown language this year. What's a poor citizen to make of it all?
When the government uses these absurd phrases, we have to laugh.
Meet Bill Lutz of Rutgers University, the world's foremost authority on doublespeak. Doublespeak comes from George Orwell's fictional world in which Big Brother corrupts language to make black into white, lies into truth. Doublespeak, pompous and misleading language. Bill Lutz and his colleagues have heard it all.
Now, when my uncle owned a farm in Wisconsin, he had a plow. Well, today you buy earth-engaging equipment.
100 megaton warheads launched from outer space were referred to euphemistically by the Pentagon as very large, potentially disruptive re-entry vehicles.
Hexaform rotatable surface compressing unit.
Meaning?
That's a steel nut that cost $1,728.
Protein spill, do you recall that?
Yes, protein spill is the term that Expo 86 officials used to describe throwing up on some of the rides and attractions.
Matter of fact, there's so much doublespeak around that every year the nation's English teachers gather in solemn assembly to present their Doublespeak Award for murky language. The envelope, please.
Probably not too surprising is Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North and Admiral John Poindexter.
I wanted to keep the issue highly compartmented.
We left out. It wasn't made accurate. It wasn't made fulsome. It was fixed by omission.
We have to say, this is nonsense, you guys. Stop this stuff.
Fat chance, though, doublespeak marches on. Congress writes tax laws covering single-purpose agricultural structures, meaning pig pens and chicken coops. And back at Bill Lutz's office, other examples just keep piling up.
There is nothing in life that is certain except negative patient care outcome and revenue enhancement.
David Browning, CBS News, Los Angeles.
At this point in time, that's the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather. See you Monday. Good night.
The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of 800 numbers danced in their heads. Mom, Dad, and even Aunt Sue had toll-free numbers in their heads, too. Just weeks before Christmas, they made all their calls. They didn't even have to go to the malls. And when Christmas came, everyone could see all the 800 numbers were now gifts under the tree. There was even a book of 800 numbers at sight. Happy AT&T 800 shopping to all, and to all a good night.
It's a brand new day. Now here's a brand new coffee to get you on your way.
New Taster's Choice Colombian Select with half the caffeine.
Get a full cup of flavor with only half the caffeine. The kind of coffee you'll savor from all Colombian beans.
New Colombian Select, rich, real coffee with just half the caffeine.
A full cup of flavor, only half the caffeine.
New Taster's Choice Colombian Select.
Folks, it's official. The Big Mouth is now the Fresh Mouth. Thanks to new Super Strength Polident. It has a minty mouthwash ingredient that freshens up dentures as it cleans tough stains. Try new Polident Green for a mouth freshening clean.
Mom, I'm too young to get heartburn.
But you're not too young for Tums. It's rich in calcium, and our doctor said teenagers need extra calcium in their diets.
As much as their moms do?
Yes.
This is CBS.